Here is the little game we will be building in this series. You will gather wood automatically over time, sell it for gold, buy weapons to increase your attack power, and fight bosses to earn trophies that boost your wood production even more. Everything you see here, from the progress bars to the shop, trophies, and save system, will be built step by step together in Unity. It's simple, beginner-friendly, and by then you will have your own working idle fantasy game. Welcome! In this tutorial we will build a small fantasy-themed idle game. We will gather resources, we will sell them for gold, and we will buy weapons. Today we will get the core loop working. Wood goes up over time and you can sell it for gold. Let's set up the project. First thing, you must have Unity. You can download it from Unity/download, and then you need to install the desired editor. In this case, I would suggest either the latest version, in my case Unity 6.2, or the last LTS version, in my case Unity 6.0. After this is done, you just click New Project, select the editor version, select Universal 2D, okay? And we can give it project a name. I'm going to call it Idle Dungeon. Perfect. Now we click Create Project. Alright, once Unity has loaded, I want you to click on the top right and select 2x3. Yes. Now you can rearrange the windows, the sections, however you prefer. This is my preferred layout, but if you have another one that you prefer, be my guest and choose it. Alright, the first thing I want you to do is to click Free Aspect. I want to change that to Full HD. Yes. Now we can open our scene. I'm going to right click on it and click on Save Scene as. Let's click a scene and let's call it Game. Perfect. Now it's called Game. Alright, now we are going to create our first game objects. The first game object we're going to create is a canvas. So we can click UI, Canvas. Yes, we can leave it with that name. Now inside the canvas, we're going to create a few texts. Let's click UI again and click TextMeshPro. Yes, the first time you do that, you're going to face this pop-up. Please click Import TMP Essentials. Great, that's it. We can continue. We can rename this to bold text. We can copy and paste 2 times, and we can rename the other ones to good text and title text. Perfect. Okay, let's rearrange this text. Title text, let's maybe call it Idle Dungeon. Yes. And let's, with the Control and Alt press, let's anchor to the top center. Yes. Perfect. Let's click now F in the keyboard to go until the end object. And now we can do this trick. We can drag this to the whole width. And now we can say, okay, put it in the middle. Yes. Now we can make it bold, for example, and let's make it 72 font size. Yes. Let's also click on the move tool and move it a bit down. Okay, great. Now we go to the gold text and let's, with the Control and Alt, let's anchor it to the top right. Yes. Let's do the same with the gold text. Control Alt, top right. Perfect. Let's actually rename the text. Gold will be gold 0. And then wood 0. Perfect. Now let's actually move it to the left and a bit the bottom. Yes. Now let's do the same with the gold. Okay, let's make sure they are the same. So this will be minus 60. And let's put also, oh no, the title, wood, minus 60, the goal as well. Perfect, so they are aligned. Nice. What I want to do now is to change the background color. So we can go to our main camera, go here, and select this grayish color. Perfect. Let's create now a new game object. Inside Canvas, right click, create UI panel. Yes. Let's change the name to Gather Cell Panel. Perfect. Let's now reduce the size. Okay. And now with Control Alt, press. Now we're going to put into the center. Yes. Sounds good. Okay, so now inside the panel, we're going to create a few more text. So UI text, we say good per sec text. This will show the number of good per second that we are generating. Now we can, Control and paste, and we're going to rename this to good count text. Oops. Let me fix that. Perfect. Now what we need? We will need a slider. How do we can create it? So UI slider. Let's rename it to, actually slider sounds good. Maybe good slider. Yes. We are not going to need the handle, so we can actually delete it. Okay, perfect. Now what we need to create is a button. Let's create UI button. Let's call this cell. Yes, let's actually I'm going to put a space here between boot and a slider. Yes, so it looks more consistent. Perfect. Now let's rearrange the different elements. So the good per sec will be at the top. Yes, right. Let's name it to good per second. Let's maybe set it to 0 for now. Yes, let's do the trick we did earlier. Let's make the full width. Yes, and now let's put it in the center. Perfect. Now I would say the slider is a good candidate. So we can move it to the top. Yes. Perfect. Let's leave it like that for now. Yes. Now I would say the good count. Yes, why not? Let's move this here. Let's do the same trick. Here, let's call it good 0. Yes, and let's maybe put it in the middle. And I think 36 is a bit too big. Let's maybe put 24. Yes. And now finally the button. The button we can do a bit more down here. Yeah. And let's rename the text to tell. Yes. One of few things I would like to change is that I would like this to be maybe more at the bottom and the slider here in the middle, something like that. Yeah, that will work for now. Perfect. So now we save, and now we can create our first script. Okay, let's create a new game object. Empty, create empty. Let's call it game controller. Perfect. Now we go to the assets folder here. We create a new folder. We call it scripts. Great. Now we get inside and we can create a new script. Mono behavior script. We can call it game controller. Perfect. Now, important, we need to reset the transform of the game controller because as you can see right now, it's not 0. So we can right click here and reset. Perfect. And now you need to drag and drop the game controller to the controller. Yes. All right. Now we can get inside. We get into the controller and then we will start adding code. Let's start by adding some fields. We can say header. This is just so they are in the same section. So it's nice and clean. So we can call it production settings. And then we can say serialize field. Nice field because we want to be able to modify these settings in the inspector. We can say good tick equal 1. Yes. Now we want to say serialize field private float tick interval. So this is how much good we want to, sorry, no, that's not that. This is how long is going to last an interval. In this case, our interval is going to be 1 second. So the slider will go from 0 to 1 in just 1 second, okay? And then good per tick, what means is like per each tick, which in our case is 1 second, how much good is going to be generated. In our case, it's going to be 1, basically. Okay, so we can save and see how it will look in Unity. Yes, so you can see here, there is a new section called production settings, and then we have here our settings that we can actually touch and modify. Perfect. Okay, we go back to the script, and now we actually need to create a few more things. So we need to create the state, right? So we can do header state. Perfect. And these variables, they need to be for the time being public because they will be accessed by other script later on. Public int good, and let's say 0 default. Yes, we can do the same. Public int goal 0. Perfect. All right, now we will need a few more fields for the slider. So we will say private float tick timer. This will keep track of the time that has passed. Okay, and then we can say public float tick progress equals 0. Yes, so this will be the value that we let's say inject into the slider. It will go from 0 to 1 basically. So 1 will be the slider fully completed and 0 will be the slider fully empty. Okay, now let's go. Actually, I don't think we will need the star method, so we can delete it. Yes, let's make this nice like here. Perfect. Let's actually maybe add a header here for counter. Yes. So it's separated. Okay, now update. First things first, what we need to do is to count the time, right? So we can say tick timer, yes, plus equal time delta time. Yes, this basically says, okay, every second that passes, or not every second, every instant that the update function is executed, which is once per frame, add to the current value of the tick timer. If you don't know what time delta time is, it's a way to make the time frame independent. So, for example, if I have a very powerful computer, this update function maybe will execute much more often than if you have a normal computer, just because the update function is executed once per frame. Okay, so this time delta time makes it so the tick timer, it's the same speed regardless of how many frames this your computer is able to generate, or this function is able to be executed. Okay, so you definitely want to use this because you want the same user experience for all your players. Okay, so now we do tick progress equal mathf. Yes, exactly that. Why we need this? Because the tick progress, it can only be between 0 and 1, right? So we need to clamp the value. So the value cannot be lower than 0 or higher than 1. And the value is the time that has passed divided by the how long is going to last an interval in our case, which for us is 1 second. Okay, so if tick timer is half a second and tick interval is 1 second, which is in our case, the tick progress will be the half, 0.5. All right. Okay, so we can say now if tick timer is bigger than the tick interval, meaning that enough time has passed so we have produced good, then we say int ticks. How many ticks have passed? So we need to check that. Okay, so now, oh, actually, no, not that one. We need floor to int. Yes, but we need to say, this is wrong, by the way. We need to say instead tick timer divided by tick interval. Yes, so how many ticks have passed? Okay, this will only, I mean, most of the time it will be basically just one because the update function is very, very fast. So it's unlikely that your tick interval will be faster than the update function, but it still is a good practice to keep that there. Now we say, okay, we increase the good. Okay, so we say good plus equal number of ticks and how many good we generate per tick. Okay, and now basically we have to do tick timer. Yes, exactly this. Perfect. Okay, so I would say this is it for now. Let's actually see if this works. Okay, let's test it out. We click play And now we should see here on the right, good being added. Okay, look at that. The tick is progressing. Yes. And there is good being generated. Now, what happens if we increase the number of good per tick? Wow, the good is increasing much more faster. Yes, exactly. And now, if we increase the tick interval, what will happen? The good will generate much more slower, right? Because it will take longer to achieve one tick. So we can actually set that. You see? It's waiting right now for 7 seconds until one tick is completed. Perfect. So that works as it should. Obviously, the UI doesn't work yet because we have not plugged it in. But yeah, we know that at least the update logic works. Okay, one thing that we can also add to the game controller is the sell good function. So we can say public void sell all good. So right now the conversion is going to be one good, it's one goal. Okay, so we say gold as equal wood. Okay. Okay. And now we set this to 0. Perfect. Oops, there is a problem. I think we didn't close it properly here. We need to close this as well. Yes. Perfect. This should work. Yes. Okay. With that out of the way, we can start working on the next game object and script. Alright, so now we can create our UI controller that will be in charge of updating our UI. So we can say create empty UI controller. Yes, we set the transform, we reset it. Yes, perfect. Now we create a new script. UI controller. Perfect. And now we assign it. Yes. Okay, great. Yeah, we can get inside now and start coding. All right. First thing we're going to do is to create a reference header. So we can say refs serialize field. We're going to create a lot of fields here, once per each UI element. So yeah, bear with me. So game controller. Perfect. Now we are going to start, basically referencing the UI elements that we have. We say UI top bar. Yes. We say serialize field private. So by the way, we have to import TextMeshPro, otherwise this is not going to work. And we can say, yes, root text. Perfect. Yes. Now we do the same for gold text. Perfect. Now we create a new header. And we say this is going to be the cell panel. Yes. Now we are going to create serialize field private TextMeshPro. No, this is going to be the root per second text. Perfect. Now we're going to say serialize field private slider. This is going to be a slider. which I think we call it slider, wood slider. Yes. Yes. Now we need to realize field private TextMeshPro, and this is going to be wood count text. Yes. And finally, we will need to realize field private button cell button. Yes. Perfect. Okay. Great. I think we need to import, for it to work, we need to import Unity Engine UI. Yes, this is very important. Okay, so I think we have all the fields that we need. Let me double check the button, wood count text, the wood slider, the wood per sec text. Yeah, I think that should work. Okay, so the first thing we want to do is to, if cell button has been wired, okay, then we want to assign the action. So we can do that. We can say cell button on click. So every time the button gets clicked, do something. All right, so we are going to right now use the update to say gold text dot text, and this is going to be gold. That's pretty much it. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Not quite, but I think for now we can say the wood per second is 1. We can fix this. Yes. Per tick. We don't need that actually. Yes. And this will work. Yeah. Perfect. Let's clean this up. Now we're going to create a function on cell clicked. So every time, this is the function that we can call here. So every time the button gets clicked, we can say in controller cell all wood. Okay, so instead we can actually do this. Yes. Okay. Okay. One thing we forgot is to actually, in the slider, wood slider, the value, it's actually game controller. No, I think it's called tick progress. Yes, tick progress. Tick progress. Yes. So this is should work. Let me double check. Okay, so now we need to wire up all these things over here. So let's get to it. So we click UI controller, and now we have to reference all of that. So the first thing, the game controller, easy. You can put it like here. Wood text. And here, this one. Gold text. This one. Wood per sec text. Here. Slider. This one. Count text. This one. Cell button. Here. Perfect. Let's save. I don't know. Let's see what happens. Okay, look at this. It's working. Let me go to the wood slider and the fill area. I don't like the color that we have right now. Let's maybe use red for now. Yeah, something like that. Let's maybe make this a bit bigger. Okay, let's hit play. Okay, look at this. Wood is being generated. You can see it here and here. And now if we sell, what happens? Yeah, it gets converted to gold. You see, now we have gold 10. Yes, and we can keep clicking here and the gold gets higher, gets increased. Okay, that's fantastic. Everything works. Okay, today we built the core idle loop. Wood increases every second. We can sell wood per gold. And we have a progress bar that shows time passing. Next time, we will add more things to our game to make it more interesting.